Memory is a dead energy. The ego survives on dead energy. When I say memory is dead energy, I'm not making a metaphor, I am describing a fact. Energy exists one day in life, one day now. The moment has passed, the sensation is gone, the vitality is gone. What remains is a neutral residue, an imprint without life. Memory has no pulse, no intelligence, no creative force. It cannot act, it cannot respond, it cannot see truth. It can only be replayed. That is dead energy. Now, why does the ego survive on it? Because the ego itself is not alive. The ego cannot exist in the present moment. Presence dissolves it instantly. So it feeds on past achievements, past wounds, past identities, imagined futures built from the past. Memory gives the ego continuity. It says, I was someone, I mattered, I suffered, I achieved. That story is its oxygen. When you revisit memory, you are not learning, you are maintaining a self image. You are saying, this is me, this happened to me, this defines me. That is survival behavior. People think they are remembering life, they are actually avoiding life. Why? Because life requires direct contact, memory requires nothing. No risk, no vulnerability, no presence, just repetition. This is why nostalgia feels strangely comforting and empty at the same time. You are consuming psychological leftovers, and the ego loves leftovers because fresh life would kill it. So, when you see this clearly, something changes. You stop asking, was it meaningful? You ask, why am I feeding something that isn't alive? And the moment that question lands, memory loses its authority. Not through discipline, not through control, but through clarity. Memory doesn't need to be fought, it needs to be seen for what it is, dead energy, kept alive only by a dead idea of who you are. When that is seen, the mind grows quiet, not because you forced it, but because there is nothing there to feed on anymore. That is the end of the fascination. When I say dead energy, I mean this. Energy is only alive when it can do something now, when it can see, respond, act, create. Memory cannot do any of that. It is like a burnt match. Once it gave light, now it's just black ash. You can stare at it for hours, nothing will happen. That's dead energy. Now look carefully at what you are actually doing when you ruminate. You think, let me think about that moment. What happens? Your body does not move. Your life does not change. No new intelligence appears. No action is born. You are motionless inside. Time is passing. Life is passing. But you are not living. That is how time is lost. You might say, but I feel something. Yes, you feel a recycled emotion. That emotion is not coming from life. It is coming from stored chemical patterns. It's like reheating old food. You're not cooking, you're not nourishing yourself. You are just keeping hunger quiet for a moment. Here is the illusion you need to see clearly. The mind tells you, this is meaningful because it feels familiar. Familiar is not alive. Familiar just means repeated. Now, the most important point, read this slowly. Dead energy consumes living time. Every second you spend replaying memory, your eyes are not seeing, your body is not present, your intelligence is not engaged, your life is not unfolding. Life is happening without you. That's the real cost. Not morality, not spirituality, opportunity cost of being alive. Why does the ego like this? Because real life demands attention, uncertainty, responsiveness, humility. Memory demands nothing. So the ego says, stay here, it's safe and sterile. Here's the simplest way to see it in real time. Next time memory appears, ask one brutal question. Is anything happening right now because of this thought? If the answer is no, you are sitting with a corpse. Dead energy is not evil, it's just finished. The mistake is not that memory exists, the mistake is living there. Once you see that, memory stops looking rich. It looks empty, and when something looks empty, the mind naturally let go. Not because you forced it, but because there is nothing to stay for. That is how the illusion collapses. Think about it. Your mind is constantly occupied with ghosts, memories, images, stories about yourself. You are not here, now. You are living inside yesterday, inside some constructed self, and pretending that it matters. Memories are dead energy. Every time you ruminate, you are replaying something that's already gone. The actual experience is over. You are not reliving it. You are just recycling the emotion, the story, the little ego thrill of I was there, I did that. Identity is a prison. I am this person, I was this way. You cling to it like a security blanket, but it is the very thing that keeps you from being free. The moment you realize that identity is just a label, not life itself, the obsession dissolves. Instagram, trophies, nostalgia, they are illusions of significance. People photograph, collect, archive, and curate their past like it has value in itself. But life is not a museum, it is happening now. You are pretending that a memory can substitute for reality. That's why it feels satisfying temporarily. It is the ego getting a small hit of self importance. But ultimately, it is meaningless. You pay for it in energy. Every second you spend reliving past experiences is a second stolen from your real life. You train your nervous system to feed on old dopamine, old excitement, old fear, old pride. You weaken your capacity to be fully alive in this moment. Attachment is pain. The more you hoard memories, the more you tether yourself to something that is gone. Loss, longing, regret, pride, they all come from this collection. The self thinks, I am this sum of past experience. No, you are ever changing awareness. Clinging is foolish because the past cannot serve you now. The subtle trap of fascination. Some people like memories because it is a safe form of entertainment, safer than risk, safer than real life. But safety is death disguised as comfort. Fascination with the past is fascination with your own death in microdoses. Because every moment you live in memory is a moment you die to life. So, when you see people obsessed with their experiences, Instagram, nostalgia, stories of the self, they are not alive, they are archives. They are walking memory museums. And the tragic part is, they don't even notice. Real life isn't in the archive. Real life is flow, presence, immediacy. It is simple, frightening, and powerful, and it is always now. When I say memories are dead energy, I mean literally that. Energy you had in a moment is gone forever. The experience itself, the smell, the feeling, the pulse of life is no longer there. What remains is just a representation of it in your nervous system, a mental echo. Now, when you ruminate, you aren't reliving that energy. You are replaying a simulation, a constructed copy made of neurons, words, images, and your interpretation. Your brain is basically telling a story. Look, this is me. Remember this? But the thrill, the excitement, the suffering, none of that is real anymore. It's just recycled charge. The ego loves it. The mind gets a tiny hit of self importance. I went there. I did that. I felt that. That little thrill makes you feel like the past matters, like it defines you, like hoarding memories somehow makes you a richer person. But in reality, you are feeding your nervous system a dead snack. You are stuck in a loop. Each replay doesn't recreate life, it fractures it. You are drawing attention, focus, and energy away from the only place you can actually live, the present. The more you replay, the weaker your capacity to feel, act, and think freshly. You are living inside echoes of yourself, not life itself. Emotional recycling is a subtle torture. Replaying joy becomes shallow. Replaying pain becomes a trap. You might think nostalgia or regret is harmless, but it is like keeping old trash in your nervous system. It accumulates, it stagnates, it shapes your responses to now. The ultimate cost, life itself. Every moment spent in memory is a moment not felt in reality. Your mind is a thief, convincing you that this recycled energy is somehow real, valuable, or necessary. It is none of those things. If you truly see this, the past stops seducing you. The mind tries, oh, it will always whisper stories. But when you recognize them for what they are, you stop feeding the dead. Energy is freed, the nervous system relaxes, and life becomes crisp, immediate, alive. So, memory is not life, it is what remains after life has already moved on. When you sit with memory, nothing is happening, only time is passing. You are not living, not learning, not creating. You are feeding something that cannot give anything back. Dead energy is not dangerous. Mistaking it for life is. The moment you see this clearly, memory loses its pull. Not through effort, not through discipline, but because you finally recognize there is nothing there. And when there is nothing there, the mind stops visiting on its own.